Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi nombre es Gerardo Pellerano y bienvenido a los Creator Talks, un podcast donde entrevistamos a un creator que está creando su visión en el mundo, porque definitivamente la mejor forma de predecir el futuro es creándolo. Este episodio llega a ti gracias a cooffice.do, un coworking y centro de negocio donde puedes iniciar y crecer tu emprendimiento o empresa. Puedes conocer sus planes en su website cooffice.do. Hoy tenemos al señor Charlie Williamson, PhD. Charlie es un destacado ejecutivo de negocios, director ejecutivo de JP Morgan, director ejecutivo de UBS. También fue chairman of the School of Business Advisory, todavía lo es, en el Metropolitan College of New York. Y antes de empezar con la entrevista con Charlie, le quiero dar muchas gracias a Alan Del Monte por los eventos de Startup Grind y todos los eventos que están sucediendo en el ecosistema, porque ahí fue que conocimos a Charlie y de ahí que hemos entablado la relación con Charlie. Charlie es CEO de una empresa que se llama C-Force, que se dedica al desarrollo de apps en Estados Unidos, y también junto con Alan está trayendo ese proyecto a la República Dominicana para contratar developers. La entrevista la vamos a hacer en inglés porque es el idioma donde Charlie se siente más cómodo. Entonces vamos a empezar. Charlie, how are you doing?
Good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. So Charlie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What did you study? And what C-Force is about? Just for my audience knows what C-Force is all about.
So I am from New York City, born and raised here. I went to school at Manhattanville College, a small private school that's pretty popular in recruiting lots of students from Dominican Republic. And so I have tons and tons of friends that are Manhattanville alum. I've worked in private sector. I've worked in for the government. I worked for the district attorney's office for 5 years, serving the community in alternative sentencing, helping people reestablish their social life. And somewhere along the lines, I decided I wanted to turn around after doing my master's degree in business and my doctorate. I decided to transfer all of my skill set into corporate America. And then I went into Citigroup and JP Morgan and UBS, serving in senior management roles. After several years of working in those spaces, I realized that I had this itch that I needed to scratch. And it was really around the idea of being a very solid entrepreneur, running large organizations, having huge budgets of $3.3 billion of these Fortune 100 companies. It was time for me to just take those skill sets, open up my own business. So I opened up a company called C-Force. C-Force stands for Centrifugal Force Consulting Group. And we've been established now since 2013. We focus on things such as mergers and acquisitions, post-merger acquisition integration, structuring deals, and bringing in technology to help the two organizations through mergers or acquisitions integrate and work more smoothly with their technology. And then we recently started to open up gateways to create jobs in places like Dominican Republic by building a software factory that's going to serve the U.S. So that's a little bit about it.
Okay, so just so the audience know more about the factory, the interview is going to be based on C-Force, how you have it right now on the United States. But just so people know more about the factory, first you can go to cforcerd.com and you can see the website. And as we were talking yesterday, you guys are looking for developers, right?
Correct. We're looking
for developers.
Yes, we're looking for people who know how to develop applications, mobile applications in Apple, Android, and Windows. So if you have talent and you know how to write code for web apps and mobile applications, we're looking to recruit people immediately to work with U.S. companies building out their applications.
Okay, no, that's perfect. And Charles, tell me more about that process. You had an awesome position at one of the biggest company, I would say, of the world, Also, both 2 times. I saw your LinkedIn, and you had executive director at JP Morgan, and then the same position at UBS.
Mhm.
Uh, why you decided to leave corporate America, a high paying job, all the status that it gave you, you were just flying to go in business for yourself. Why you did that? Tell me more.
Well, the thing is that I think when you start off early in your career, you need to be able to build a reputation, and you need to be able to show the world that you're capable of doing very, very well at something, whatever that profession may be.
Yeah.
But over time, what happens is that you start to move to a name where people know who you are. You become the brand. So when
Okay.
you become the brand, you're your own entity at that point.
Awesome.
So the question becomes, do you still work underneath the company's brand, or do you work underneath your brand, which you have established after working so many years? I decided to go with my own brand. My name became very good on Wall Street as a person who knows how to transform companies to do very well in technology and business.
Okay.
The timing was just perfect for me to go and do it, and I'm so excited about it.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And Charles, tell us about your main obstacles in the beginning of C-Force and how you have overcome. And you know that entrepreneurship, I think anywhere you do it, at least here in the Dominican Republic, it's not red roses at the start. Like people will get some obstacles at the beginning. And I would say you will get double of obstacles if you don't know sales or marketing, because if you don't know how to sell your product, you would not be able to stand out as an entrepreneur unless you get a co-founder or employees that are good, on selling your idea to the world. So tell me your main obstacles in the beginning of C-Force. Since you came from corporate America, things are different. You have already a team that will help you out to run the ideas for the company. But then, since you went to C-Force, tell me about the main obstacles, please.
Well, I've tried C4S a few times with different business ventures. And one of the biggest obstacles is finding people who are equally committed to being successful. I found in my experience that some partnerships, people just wasn't in the right mindset. They're very
Right.
smart, very intelligent, but as you mentioned earlier, you know, when you go the entrepreneurial route, there's certain risks you must take. And when you take those risks, you can't look back. As much as you want to look back and say, let me go back into corporate, you just can't look back. You got to go at it relentlessly. You got to give it your best. And my biggest obstacle has always been that sometimes people that I partnered with, they just did not have the same appetite, the same endurance to be up early in the morning, late at night, thinking through problems and things of that nature. That was one big challenge in my career, of just seeing people come and go based off of their priorities. Um,
Right. Right, and sometimes it happened to me that when I started my business, when the business started to monetize and get clients, there will be people that would like to be co-founders, and it happened to me. It happened. I got two businessmen that came in to me and said, "Hey, I want to to be a co-founder of your business." They had more experience than me, but I asked them, "Hey, what you can offer me as a value?" They didn't want to give me any money. I don't need any money because I do digital marketing, as you know, and they didn't have the experience and the know-how of do the business. They just wanted to be a part of it. And I know it can happen to you too. And since I met you and I know who you are, I know that you do business not just for the money. We need to charge our customers because we need to eat and pay rent. But I know you do it to make it a better place, to create a better place on the world, such as me and Alan does, and all the real entrepreneurs, because I was talking to another interview yesterday that if you do it for the money only, and that's your main motto, it will go away. Like you would not, stand all the pressure and all and all the stuff that you need to handle, to be an entrepreneur. So I totally get you there. Tell me, Charles, do you have a problem with your family or friends when you decided to start? Like, tell me more, because sometimes entrepreneurs will do it like a side hustle on their job until the company grows.
Mhm.
What was your story in your case? Tell me what your family told you and your friends, if you were crazy since you were leaving a high paying job, and how you overcome that process.
I think if you were very, very close to me and you're very close to me, you'll know me from experience that I've always been entrepreneurial in some type of way growing up, whether it's selling candy in school or coming up with odd jobs and ideas of how I can just do business. I've been that way my whole entire life. And when I worked in companies, I never saw myself as ever as an employee. I always saw myself as term leadership. It was
Okay.
always temporary. I never had intentions. I've never worked at a company more than 5 years anywhere. And I always had in my mind to work what I want to do for the next 1 to 3 years. I just don't like to be complacent. I never liked grass growing underneath my feet. I've just always been the person who go somewhere, do a great job, and say, where do I go next? And that is just the mindset of an entrepreneur. If you're very close to me, like my mother would say, when I finally got tired and say, I am going to do this, my mother's response was, I never expected you to stay in corporate America. I always knew you would venture off for yourself. I'm surprised you stayed that long doing corporate America. So that was
My
my
mom
mother's
told me the same. My mom told me the same.
response. But I had some other friends that did speak to me about it. Well, I wouldn't say so much friends. My friends understand my behavior, but some business affiliates and stuff, and they've worked at these companies for 15 years, 20 years. They have families. They went to college for the purpose of getting a great job,
You're right.
right? When I went to school not to get a job, but to establish a business and a career in my own identity. That is the difference. So I don't knock that if a person decides that they want to go and work for a company, there are companies who need a lot of great skilled people. So I encourage people who want to go and work for a great company to continue to follow that path. But if you're an individual who has an independent mind, who would like to do things in a unique ways and take risk and ventures and explore new ideas, a corporation is not going to be for you. You're going to have boundaries and they're going to give you limitations because of budget,
Right.
because the limitations with geography. Right now, if I want to open up a business in DR, I can open up a business in DR, and that is what I've done. I've incorporated in DR. I have a corporation there. So, I can go wherever I want. I want to go to Europe. I could go to Europe. You know,
Yeah.
so these are the things that I always did. But on a little side note, just to give you another example, like I just don't like restrictions. When I first started to study, I wanted to be a lawyer. But
Okay.
if you don't know anything about law in the United States, when you go to be a lawyer, you have to pass an examination for the state in which you plan to practice.
Yeah. There's
You
just
know,
only one place, right?
only one place. And I sat back to myself and I said, I love law. I'm really good in law, but I also know myself, which is I don't want to be restricted to a state or a country. And that is why I did my doctorate, because wherever I go, I can bring my doctorate with me and I can practice anywhere, whenever, and whatever I want. So I even had that entrepreneurial thinking when I was studying my degrees.
I see totally what you're saying. I don't know if you're familiar with the term digital nomadism. People that work anywhere with their laptop,
Yes.
and I think that's what you're going through. I also work on that philosophy. Like my agency is online, so I can work anywhere on the world whenever I want.
Sure.
For example, there's a friend that is doing a speaking gig on Santiago, a hometown, but it isn't on tomorrow. Like tomorrow is a day of the weekend, and I say, hey, I'm going. I just need to go, and I work from my laptop, and we're good. So yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think that's not the feature, that's the present. That's how work it should be. There's even a documentary called One Way Ticket, which I
Mm-hmm.
will send you, which it features Tim Ferriss, the author of the Forward Work Week, and
Mm-hmm.
Alphamatic, which is the WordPress company,
Mm-hmm.
how they work. 400 employees work all over the world. They only see each other like for one time of the year. So I think that's where work is going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's the mission of your business for CForce? Tell me more about that.
Well,
And also CForceRD.com. What you want to accomplish?
yeah. So in terms of the company, what I would really like to do is to be able to be the next uh, nearshore IT software development company. I want to be the largest software development company in the Caribbean, starting with the Dominican Republic. My whole focus, my whole business model is to get companies in the US or in Europe or the UK to want to hire the resources, the IT resources in Dominican Republic. Right. So
Okay.
that is my main mission, right? Is to create jobs there. I plan over the next 3 years to create 1,000 jobs in the Dominican Republic of developers and also some business functions.
Wow.
I also want, and the mission is to have over 500 startups. Um, Also part of the software factory that we're building,
Okay.
and so and to be able to for us to go into areas of big data and biometrics. So I just even had a conversation as late as 10 o'clock last night with a big medical center who wants to have a whole research and development team for technology development in biometrics.
Wow,
So,
that's great.
and to place that factory in the Dominican Republic. That's the goal for me with that.
I
And
totally get you, man.
last piece, the last piece is to create an end-to-end software development program for women. And why the reason why I'm targeting women specifically for end-to-end software development is because I believe women being the largest consumer of products and services of online purchasing
Right.
better create applications to simplify how the user experiences, how they make purchases, the simplification of navigating to products and services. All of those things, I believe that women are the best and the experts at it because they're the biggest consumers, representing about 66% of all of online shopping. Um, so that says a lot. And then what I mean by having a woman development team, meaning that the whole entire from the conceptual idea all the way to delivery and publication, all women
That's
develop
great.
product.
That's
Yeah.
great. You go, including my philosophy. I always say that if you get a woman to get excited about an idea, you will be rich. My team for my agency, I have two employees,
Mhm.
and they're both women. They're really hardworking, and they have always idea. Not that men are not hardworking, but I prefer women. I don't know why. And plus, you get to work with beautiful girls, so uh, it's a bonus.
Well, Alan,
So that's
I
how it.
don't want to say that
Yeah,
type of stuff because it could come out the wrong way as a business owner. So I don't think you want to say that on phone.
yeah,
But I think that the most important reason why we want to be able to have women on it is because it is a recognized deficiency in business.
yeah,
We do
yeah.
not have is very imbalanced, right? So instead of getting women to only be on call center desks, sales, customer service desk or secretaries and things, they perform these leadership functions. They get it,
Yeah, yeah.
And I was at the big companies that I was working for, these Fortune 100s. I had promoted very, very much women, having
Leaders.
career paths in leadership roles. I promoted a lot of women to vice president positions in the company because I saw that we did not have enough women vice presidents. So I did that, even to take them as far as executive directors. And I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And similarly, I've also leveraged my influence in corporate America to be able to hire people from inner cities. So I also did a program where I took kids from inner cities. These are communities that they're not poor, but they're not rich, right? They're growing communities that do not have all the access to opportunities. And I hired quite a bit of them, and they are doing very well. One in particular was the doorman of my former boss.
No, I remember that story.
In which he's from Dominican Republic, and he was a doorman. But he was very smart. He was a very good doorman. He understood services and everything. And I looked at my boss and I said to him, I can make this guy a success story. Let me hire him. He didn't believe me. I hired him, and that guy today makes $120,000 a year. He does not have a degree, only his high school diploma. And he runs all data centers for a small marketing agency. So he's doing very well for himself. Right?
That's great. That's great. And plus, you changed the life of someone.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you believe in people, people will surprise you. And I didn't want you to mislead the conversation regarding women. I'm pro women on our ecosystem. There are a few women on our entrepreneurial ecosystem, but they're always growing. For example, I had an interview yesterday with two women for the podcast. One girl is called Diana Nadal. She owns a company called Piensa. They do education for entrepreneurs, like digital marketing, personal brand. They do courses. And then the other one is called Coral Sanchez. She's the general marketing manager for Corotos, which is like a Yellow Pages kind of website for the Dominican Republic. So most women, at least here at the Dominican Republic, are taking leadership positions. There's Catherine Motica with Jumpeame.com. You can check it out. There's Ivana Lahara with Felicidad Laboral. There's a lot of girls, getting into business and having leadership positions. But I totally get you. There must be the same or more women on entrepreneurship and leadership positions than men.
And the other piece that we failed to mention is not just gender, but also the physical capabilities of an employee. So I rarely have seen big executives that only have one hand, one eye.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Physical challenge. Blind. So I mean, why is that? Why is that a challenge that we don't see the diversity across all types of people in these different leadership positions? And I would like to change that. And I would really like to change that. I want to bring the same opportunities that I've been building in the United States and in the UK and in Europe, and bring it to DR.
That's great. That's great, Charles. And thank you so much. I remember that conference that I told you about, me changing my whole team to another country, and you told me that I needed to believe on my country, because if I don't do it, no one would do it. That helped me a lot. I did hire someone from another company, from another country, but I also have a Dominican team. So I have it, 50-50, if you will. But I'm trying to get more Dominicans to go at least as a side hustle to work for me, and then to go full time as an entrepreneur. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't want them to be employees on my company, all their life. I just want them to have that as a side hustle until they can go full time as an entrepreneur, and then I can get someone new, and then for me to convert as much people as possible, so they can grow their ideas, and then we can create a better economy for the country, and then that way, Dominican Republic will be seen as an entrepreneurial country instead of just being Punta Cana and the beaches. So Charles, tell me, what do you think has been the factor that led your business to success?
Again, I think it goes back to reputation, right? It's the successes, and my secret has always been my reputation.
Your
People
personal
trust
brand.
people trust me. My personal brand. People trust me, um, and they can count on me. If I say it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If I commit to something, I do everything possible to make it a realization to the people.
I
And,
see.
and the other thing that has led me to successes is that if I see that something isn't going the right way, I'll easily adapt to the right way, right? Where some people, they may continue to go down a path where it's not going to go anywhere. When you're an entrepreneur, you also have to know when to cut your losses. When you know that that is not going to work, whether it's the invention is not good, the people around you are not great, the market is not great for what you're trying to do, and knowing that, what, this is not the right time, these are not the right folks, I don't have enough capital to do this, and then adjusting yourself quickly
To the market.
to adapt to that change.
Right.
And by the way, that is the reason why I named my company Centrifugal Force. So just to go back to that, the name of the company Centrifugal Force was developed over about 5 days of me locking my friends in a room, paying for lunch, and all we did was think of what kind of name should I call my company. I brought some very smart people that I trusted to help me figure out just the name. 4 days, right? And we wrote on a board, we drew it out. They asked me tons and tons of questions about what is it that I'm trying to achieve. And we came to centrifugal force because I noticed that quick changes in the market is like that invisible force that throws companies off their axis.
I
So
see.
it's like, okay, I now got to go over here and move my organization. And when you make that turn, now you mess up your finances, you mess up your people strategy, you mess up your product strategy. So the whole idea of my company is that we control the centrifugal force. We will help companies navigate through all of those sharp changes in the market while keeping them on their axis.
I
And
totally
that's
get you.
where the name came from.
I totally get you, and it happens. I was talking to Pablo in the class that we're taking, and there's something that he introduced that's called jobs to be done, where people don't buy for the needs; they're just trying to get something done. Like they're trying to do a job to be done. So if that changes and you don't adapt, you will go bankrupt. It happened to me that we sell leads, as I told you, big data to small companies, and we sell name, phone number, and email address of the people that click an ad, and they need to follow up. They need to call the people. So they didn't want to do it, Charles. The
Mhm.
business owners didn't want to do it. So what we did is now we offer the service called outsourcing of sales, where we have a personnel that will call the people for you as like a call center,
Mhm.
and the customers love it. And the reason why I did that is because uh, for them to renew the service, they need to convert and get more business. And if they don't call, they will not get the business. So I had one of two options. I can say, hey, I will get another customer that would like to call, or I will get the customer that doesn't want to call by offering a new service and getting more profit from him. And also, I will get the customer that does want to call and you know, he's the right one. But you know, adaptability, I think, is the main factor, at least for me, on business success. And I'm really glad that we're in the same page.
Mhm.
Charles, tell me, what has been your worst mistake as an entrepreneur? And not, I don't use the word failure because I don't believe on the word failure, because I'm pro, you know, what Thomas Jefferson said. You know, I found out 10,000 ways of not doing it, not you know, of doing something else. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
what has been your worst mistake as an entrepreneur, for our creators that are just starting out? You know, that they could save some time.
I think that is very difficult when you have too much of a close relationship with your partners. Like for example, I find that best friends are not the best partners, right? Family members can also be a challenge with a partnership or having them as employee. Um, and so when you look at these business ventures, you really have to be careful. Don't pick people that you are uh, that you like a lot, you love a lot. You know, make sure that these are individuals that are competent, committed. Because if you pick family, it's kind of hard to say, you know what, you're fired. You pick a best friend, you know, you may not feel comfortable with being able to say, hey, look, I don't agree with you. So you know it's very important, and I've made some mistakes along those paths in in the past with that, of picking people who are just too close to of a relationship that you can't really be able to separate it. Some people are very good at it and it works, but I find that a lot of colleagues of mine share that same sentiment, that it is so difficult to hire a family member or a best friend to do a job. Really need to have that separation between your personal and your professional, and it doesn't always work. Um, and that to me, Alan, I mean, Gerard, if that would to me is the biggest mistake that I've made in the past. I won't make that again, but I did make that before in the past. And I've tried it several times, and I have colleagues that tried it several times, and it just is very difficult to manage. So, and then the last one that I would say is that if you know how to do it, just do it. Don't delegate things that you can do yourself. Get it done fast, because you know when you rely on people to get things done that you can do, don't be upset if they don't produce as quickly as you, or the quality in which you would have produced it. So you know, when you have your own business, you're an entrepreneur, there is a lot of do it yourself. You are in every aspect of the business. You are the legal person, you are the accountant, you are the marketing, you are the sales, you are the executive assistant, you're everything in that company. So if there is something that you can do yourself, just do it. So those are the things I would say. Are you still there? Or are you on mute?
I'm on
Okay.
mute. I'm on mute.
Okay. There we
I'm on
go.
mute. Okay, no, that's okay. So basically, what you're saying is just don't delegate until you know, it's something operational. Like for example, if you're going to delegate, if you know that you need to call 10 people to get one appointment, and that's something that you know it will happen again and again. Uh, you would just delegate that task to someone else, because you know that it's not just worth your time, and then you would just speak with the customers that are interested. Would that be would that make sense? Is that what you were telling us, something like that?
Yeah, well, I what I wouldn't use it with customers. Customers sometimes they want to feel special. When I get on the phone and they know that I'm speaking with them, you know, and I just so happen to be the CEO at the same time, it shows that I'm very accountable. It shows that I'm involved.
Yeah.
You know, so in terms of clients, always be available for your client. Never get too high in your organization to speak to a client. You always speak to a client. Um, but what I'm talking about are things like if you can write that email really quickly and explain your thoughts directly, write the email. Don't delegate it to an assistant. Right?
Oh, I see.
If there is a PowerPoint presentation that you know exactly what you want to convey and explain, just do it yourself. It may take a little bit of time, but just do it yourself, because at least you know it's going to be what you want. So things that are very, very important to your success, see if you can do it yourself. If you can do it yourself, do it. If these are things that you cannot do yourself, then delegate.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just be very careful with what you delegate, because you can slow things down and you can introduce failure.
Okay, I totally get you. Charles, we're running out of time, and we're basically finishing up the interview. One last question that I do to always to all the interviews. One last tip to our beginning creators. Imagine a guy, girl, just finished school, not even high school. She or he finished school, 17, 18 years old. What you would tell them? What you would like someone to tell you if you were that age and have your mind? You know what I mean? Like, what it would be a tip or advice to our beginning creators?
I think one of the things is, if you are young and you about to finish college, or if you finished college, you're in a very, very good position. Chances are you don't have children, you're not married yet. So that means that you can navigate the whole entire globe. That means you can go and work in any country you want. You can, take risk, like try a business idea. And if it fails, it's okay. If it's successful, then great. You can try many, many, many things when you're young and you're fresh. As you get older, life is going to introduce certain responsibilities that's going to hold you and make you have to think a little bit hard about taking those risks.
Right.
So getting married and having children and so on and so forth. But while you're young, with all of that energy and fresh ideas, try to think about what risk can you take, what chances do you want to explore, and lastly, be yourself. Don't try to be anything other than yourself. Be yourself in everything you do. I don't have a separate personality for business that I don't have in my personal life. My personality is sufficient for everyone, and I get people to accept who I am, because who I am is what makes me special. So don't try to be something that you're not. Be who you are all the time. Just try to be the best version of yourself. Try to be the best version of yourself. So always try to be better, but always be yourself, and be humble.
Be humble. No, and I think that's you. You're really humble.
Thank you.
You're doing this interview, and you know that this is not the biggest podcast ever, and I know that you're a really senior entrepreneur. So thank you so much, Charles, for your time. You can count with me and Alan for everything, and the ecosystem for everything you want to do. We will tell more people about C-Force RD. Thank you so much for your time. Let me just say goodbye in Spanish to our audience, and then we wrap it up. So, gracias por escuchar nuestro Creator Talks. Tú también puedes crear la vida que deseas y ayudarnos a crear un mejor lugar para vivir. Thank you so much, Charles, for your time, and have a great day, and take care.
Thank you for having me on board. Always happy to join again. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, take care.
Bye.